Hey guys, welcome to a new initiative we've decided to start called the Movement of the Month. This will be posted on social media and it is designed to help you get better at specific movements by strengthening your weaknesses and eventually mastering entirely new skills. The first one we're going to focus on is the pull-up. And what I'm going to do is teach you to think like a sports scientist, isolate the movement, strengthen the weak parts, and then put it back together again into a complete lift or a complete movement. Now, the first thing that you need to do is start thinking of the joints involved. Now, for a pull-up, it's pretty simple. We're going to work from the top down and bring it all the way to the rest of the body, and then we're going to look at how to strengthen each one of those. So the first one, of course, is the wrist and hand. You need to be able to hang and support your weight. So for that, we need to look at the hand. You need to squeeze and hold on to the bar. And the forearm needs to flex slightly in order to create some stability. The next one is when we are pulling down is the elbow joint. So all the elbow joint does is go from the lengthened position to the shortened position. For the shoulder, this part, we're looking at the arm above to the arm down. Now, forget about this part. We're just looking specifically at that joint. So if we take this part out, what we have is going from all the way up to all the way down. Then the next one is the shoulder blade. What you don't know is at the back, when you are hanging on a pull-up, your shoulder blades are in this position. And as you pull yourself down, they pull down that way. So we must not forget that we don't want to do pull-ups like this, but rather there. And the last one, of course, is the spine, also called the midline, and that is keeping all of this stable. If you're loose and floppy and your legs and arms are all over the place, it gets much harder to pull yourself over the bar. So there's a lot of stability involved in that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of exercises for each joint coming over the next few weeks, and you can put them together. Now, before we hop into that, for a pull-up, to strengthen that is actually pretty simple. You get a lat pull-down machine, you sit down, and you just progressively overload this over several months or weeks until it's stronger. But I know a lot of you work out in CrossFit gyms or gyms that don't have this, so all these suggestions are going to be based on people who don't have access to a lat pull-down machine. So if you're one of those, ignore this video, just go do some lat pull-downs. Now, next up, when we look at each of the movements I'm going to give you over the coming weeks, is I want you to pick 2 or 3 of them per workout, and you're going to progressively overload them, meaning make it harder over a preset period of time. So that could be anything from strengthening the hands to the rest of the biceps. It doesn't matter, it's up to you, and I'm going to show you how to pick the weakest part and attack that. And we're just going to keep overloading and overloading and overloading and getting stronger and stronger until there are no more weaknesses left and you can do a complete pull-up. And the final thing we're going to add is practicing the positions. So you basically have 3 things that you need to pay attention to with a pull-up. The first one is the hanging position at the bottom, so your active hang. You have your final position, which is the chin over the bar, and you have the transition between them. So we're also going to practice strengthening the 2 end ranges and the in-between towards the end using isometric work and negative work. Now, as we're going through this movement of the month, it does help if you understand some anatomy and biomechanics, but it doesn't actually matter that much if you don't. It just makes it more simple and easy for you to decide which exercises to pick. Another thing that's very important, and for some reason people still have this misconception, muscles cannot exert force while lengthening. So you are not using your triceps while doing a pull-up, and I still find this quite often. Muscles can only produce force when they shorten or pull together. So whenever you are looking at a movement that you need to pick to strengthen your pull-up, always think, I need to close the joint angle and what muscle makes that happen. It's just a way to think like a sports scientist. And very, very importantly, if you are on a strength training program, you need to take in adequate protein and carbohydrates. Otherwise, your progress will be incredibly slow. And there will be an additional video to follow up later to show you how to decide how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbs you need in order to fuel your strength training. So with that said, first exercise we are going to focus on is for the wrist and hand.